What's up, everybody? It's Jason Cruz here once again with another episode of The Legal Submission. And in this legal submission, we talk about the Zuffa antitrust lawsuit, which is appearing to go to trial. Judge Richard Boulware yesterday denied motions for approval of the proposed settlement by the parties and indicated that the Lee case will be set for trial on Monday, October 28th, 2024. Now that's all, it's tentative right now. It's dependent on an August 19th status conference in which the parties will discuss that case and the discovery in the Cajun Johnson lawsuit. So there is the distinct possibility that the case will go to trial, the Lee case will go to trial, while the parties will be doing discovery in the Johnson case. Now, obviously, there will be argument about the crossover in discovery since Lee and Johnson are basically together but based on different timelines. But the parties will obviously argue on what should be put in that case versus what will happen in Lee. Now, Judge Boulware, although he cited to the fact that he will have a written opinion on why he denied the motions for approval of the settlement of $335 million to both the Johnson and Lee parties, it's clear that he was concerned with at least the Johnson case as far as the class participants, the potential class participants that would not be protected by the terms of the settlement. Now, the Lee case seems to have been a more complete case, and the unfortunate part about this is that based upon the payouts from the Lee matter, there were at least 36 individuals that would have received seven-figure settlements as a result of the proposed settlement. However, Judge Boulware was concerned with the entire class, in which he should be concerned with. And although the parties in this case seemingly had come to a agreement as far as what would happen with the monetary settlement, as well as an injunctive relief component there that we have yet to discuss in length because it mainly deals with the Johnson case. Judge Boulware decided that this was not sufficient enough. So after two tries by the parties in June and then again in mid-July, Judge Boulware has put this back on track for trial in October. The parties obviously want to settle. It's pretty clear. Eric Kramer, on behalf of the plaintiffs, had issued a statement which had stated that they were still amenable to listen to potential scenarios in which they could settle. And the statement goes, plaintiffs respect the court's ruling rejecting the proposed global resolution of the Lee and Johnson cases, and accordingly will be moving forward full speed on all fronts as directed by the court. We now plan on ramping up preparations in Lee for the imminent trial and also will be pressing forward with discovery in Johnson. At the same time, with the interests of our client and the classes at the forefront, we are also open to re-engaging with the UFC to see whether the parties could reach a settlement building off of the momentum achieved in the prior settlement, but working to satisfy the court's expressed concerns with that resolution. In turn, the Zuffa, TKO has issued its own statement on the denial of the settlement as well as the upcoming trial. And in part, it says that in its SEC filing today, TKO Group issued a portion of this statement. The company is evaluating all of its options, including, without limitation, an appeal, and also initiated discussions with plaintiffs' counsel, who have expressed a willingness to engage in separate settlement discussions for the Lee and Johnson cases. A motion to dismiss the complaint in Johnson remains pending, and no trial date has been set. So based on those two statements, it would appear that Zuffa is more in position and and has more leverage to settle this case on its terms, or decide whether or not to just go to trial. Now, interesting point of fact here is that they do parse out Lee and Johnson now, so there is potential that they settle one case and not the other. One would think that the Lee case would be settled because based upon the second proposed settlement agreement, it had moved a lot of the monies that were going in to Johnson to Lee, and so a lot of the class in Lee would be compensated pretty well based upon how many fights they had in the UFC during that time frame. Now, Johnson is a different animal simply because of the contractual issues, the injunctive relief issue. Those matters might be a more complicated to settle. So perhaps there is at least an out to settle one of the cases but not the other. One would think that maybe they work on Lee first so they won't have a pending trial date upcoming, and then Johnson can be dealt with at another time. You would think Zuffa would be dragging their feet on Johnson simply because they still have a motion to dismiss the complaint out there that the court must decide on. Now, it's probably clear that Judge Boulware is going to deny the motion to dismiss, but you never know. We shall see on that. So we will probably wait until the the written opinion by Judge Boulware to kind of dig more in depth on how this happened and why the judge denied the proposals made by the parties. It would seem that neither party wants to take these cases to trial, but Judge Boulware is ensuring that they do go forward to protect the interests of the class. Now, obviously, if this was not a class action lawsuit, you could certainly see that the parties would be able to settle the case regardless of the terms. But since this is a class action lawsuit and Johnson it trails Lee, so to speak, you would think that both cases are being treated as if they were class action lawsuits, because Johnson, I don't believe, has been certified as of yet. So that's it for now. I'll probably have more thoughts on this as far as what went wrong with the settlement. Whose fault is it? Was it Zuffa's? Was it the plaintiffs? Was it Judge Boulware? Was it the mediator? Who is at most fault for the fact that this $335 million settlement is seemingly going by the wayside and now we head to trial? This is Jason Cruz for Legal Submission, MMA Payout. Have a good one.